So it's official.
I'm cross-legged because I'm a gentleman right now in class. I'm wearing a long-sleeve shirt, actually. This is big.
I've never seen you dressed up this fancy.
This fancy, I know.
18 months I've known you.
You know me a lot longer than 18 months.
Oh.
Just trying to think. So, this is the first podcast we're doing together. And I'm Skrizz, you know me. You do not know Adam, because Adam's a nobody that nobody cares about.
How are you assuming they don't know me?
Okay, whatever. So, let's think. I met you because of Tipping Point. Tipping Point came out in 2016. So it's 2021. I think we met in 2017.
Those 4 years flew by. It definitely was 2017. No question about it. It was what you were performing in Boston.
I was there. So I got reached out. I definitely had a very limited fan base and a very limited listenership at the time. But I had a gig that paid well. It wasn't definitely not proportionate to how popular I was, but it paid really well. Where essentially every 6 months I would play the lobby of a hotel. I won't say the name of that hotel. And
you don't want to give it any free pub?
Nah, they quit booking me, so I'm not gonna.
That's true.
No pub. No pub for them. They quit, but they were awesome. The guy there was super cool who did it, and he was just really supportive. And it really was. It was funny because it wasn't a concert. It was just me awkwardly standing in the lobby on the floor, not a stage, just on the fucking floor. And around me are just couches, and then behind it is a bar. And it's just I think it's a testament to Boston. I love Boston. And so you, Adam, you can tell people where you're originally from?
Well, I grew up downstate in Westchester.
Westchester, yeah.
In New York.
And
but
what age
I lived
did
in
you move to
Boston forever. College. I went to college out there, stuck around there.
By 18, you stuck there till what age?
27, 28.
So you were there for almost 8 years.
Yeah, I was there for a while.
I think, yeah. So I think those who don't know, people from Boston are just really... I think the best word would be passionate. People from Boston are really, really passionate, and people from Boston are really, really dedicated, and people from Boston just get down. So even though, let's say we drew just 30 people, maybe less, probably the first time it was probably less. Let's say it was 15 people. I think the show, went maybe 3 hours. You know what I mean? It was a really funny thing, and I think you were distant at the time because you were wearing a suit.
No, that was the second time.
Really?
Yeah, first. So
did we not make contact the first time?
No, we did. So first time.
Okay.
First of all, it's funny how you recounting that story, because for me, when I first, because I became just a big fan of yours.
Okay.
And then when I saw Spotify sent an email saying
yes.
Skrizzly Adams is performing near you
in the hotel lobby.
At this hotel, I was like, I've never been to this hotel, but it must be a great hotel.
Yeah, I know. This is going to be a hell of an event. And instead you have 15 drunk Bostonians. Play it again.
I thought it was going to be this packed house, 100, 200, 500 people. However
with the
many
stage and lighting, and it just was literally, essentially just 20 drunk people in a lobby. Just be let's do it again. Which I think was I would take that over.
It was the greatest. It was one of the most fun shows I've been to, and I've been to packed house shows at Madison Square Garden.
For sure.
But I called my roommates. I was like, Holly, John.
Oh, did they come that night?
Yeah, they came the first night.
Oh, okay.
And we just had a blast. We were eating your beef jerky. We were just shooting the shit, having a great time, and it was a blast. But that's also when you did let me down.
What did I do?
In one big way. You don't know? Come on. You let me down in one huge way.
I didn't play a certain song.
No, dude, you played.
I played every song 10 times.
Yeah.
I only had 6 songs out.
And you played Tipping Point, my favorite song, at least 2 or 3 times.
Okay, so what did I lay down with?
With Tipping Point, Tipping Point to me, I got into you because it was a really tough time in my business.
Sure.
And Tipping Point spoke to me.
The emotion resonated in a certain way. Yeah, like a certain frustration.
Yeah, so after the show, we're all drunk. And I'm
everyone's drunk.
Dude, I gotta ask you a question.
What?
Yeah, sure, ask me a question. I was like, what is Tipping Point about?
By the way, this isn't a one case scenario. This is every city I go to. I tremendously let people down. What is it? So
break everyone's heart with Tipping Point.
I don't want to use your exact example, but I remember I just want to use another one so you can parallel and feel a camaraderie with someone else. I had a show. I played a college. I don't even know. It was so just so small. I was actually playing a college bar for a fundraiser where they didn't even raise any money, and I drove all the way to Kansas to do it. And it was the only thing on my calendar at the time. So I had this group of Rancher fans, and they're super cool. I'm waiting. The North Carolina people. I'm waiting for you book me for your ranch party. They've been saying that for years. No, they're cool. And they
what is a what's a ranch party? Just like a massive party on a ranch?
I don't know. I don't know. They were saying there'd be hundreds of people there. The thing people don't know, and I don't want to make assumptions, but like the Dakotas, Montana, like Saskatoon, Canada, like it might be big and open, but they got money. They got oil money. They got rancher money. They have money there. So like it's a really funny dynamic of like people with a lot of money but not a lot to do. So it's like they're gonna have a Skrizzly party. They're gonna
throw it down.
They're gonna throw down, exactly. But back to the thing. I remember he was just and then I booked a bar the next night. It was just like a night. It was just like a terrible gig. And like the guy drove the guy and his friends like drove like 12 hours. I don't even know. God knows how long to be there. And he was just like day drinking all day, and then I showed up to the bar, and he's like, "Hey man, like, no, I think it was the same thing. It's like after the gig, he was just like, did someone like break your heart, or like, he's like, we came here for that one song, and I was just like, this is like who like tell me the story how this happened. I'm like, oh no, that like it never happened. The song never happened. Like no one ever broke my heart in that type of way. I had a car. It was a Ford Explorer, and it literally died. And that was it.
When you told me that, I was like, no.
But there's something very poetic about I remember pulling the car over to the side of the road in front of my parents' house, and I knew that once I turned the car off, it was never going to turn back on. I thought that was a cool concept. For a song. So, very sorry to disappoint. I remember I was in Montana in 2019, and they were asking something about the meaning of dance with like a certain lyric, and I remember just saying like, oh, like that's an awful thing to say, like some biblical reference, and I was just like, oh well, the Bible's like the best-selling book, so like if you quote that book, like it's bound to sell a little better, and it did. So
it's not wrong.
So I wasn't wrong. It's like, damn, really? I'm like, yeah, no, I just thought, sprinkle some Bible in there. Gotta love the Bible.
It makes me think about now, like how many songs we all get emotional to that we love. We think are about such deep stuff, and it's about your car breaking down.
For sure.
Which I get.
At the same time, I will say, like I have like less popular songs that I definitely have less popular songs that are like very autobiographical, and I think it is interesting. You songs that are less autobiographical, no, that are more autobiographical, but they're not like streaming tens of millions. You know what I mean? They're not like super high selling songs, or they're not even what I'm known for. I mean, that's a testament to the idea that sometimes the more universal it is, the less specific it is, and the more universal it is, the better it's. I mean, there's a million arguments. So. Yeah, I don't know how we got here, but I like it. So we were in Boston, and we did that, and then we've been friends since. So you tell everybody you are a entrepreneur.
I like the way you said that.
Yeah, no, you gotta have some hand gesture.
You're an entrepreneur.
So I'm an entrepreneur as well. Except I don't really.
So that's kind of how we really connected.
That's how we connected. Yeah.
I've always loved.
And in the grand scheme of things, for those who don't know, he's saying Westchester County. I'm from New Jersey. Westchester's right outside New York City. New Jersey, where I'm from, is like right now we're right outside New York City. So we definitely bonded on that. And then being entrepreneurs, essentially, that we don't have bosses.
Yeah.
And we
I just liked your style of like how you approach music. Even it's different than how others approach it.
Totally.
And I think you have a more. You're a creative son of a bitch. Like that's what you're out of your mind. You're creative.
Sure.
That's what makes you so special. But I think you have a great business savvy too.
For sure.
Which is what I think one of the things that we've always connected with. But yeah,
totally.
I had a text.
I think we've definitely bounced ideas off each other, and we've talked a lot over the years. And then you called me and said you want to do a podcast, and then I drove to Saratoga.
Well, that was like a year ago now.
I know.
I remember being in Florida. I was like, we were just having a conversation about it, and it was like, you have such awesome fans.
Sure.
Like your fans are they just
second to none.
Second to none. Nobody has better fans than Skrizz.
Yep.
But like they love you. They eat, sleep, drink, want everything about you.
Tattoo that we had a girl yesterday on IG. She has a keychain now. This was a testament to what I was saying, like testament to what was I using more autobiographical songs that are less popular. I have a 50-second song called Stars Align.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like such a funny thing where it's like I remember I brought some other producers in on it, and it would cost a lot to make that record, and it by no means made the money back, not even close. Mm-hmm. But I think it's such important to make that record. I remember one girl has the lyric is what is it? Paradise is bound by time when you're waiting for the stars to align, and like her whole arm is tattooed that. And then this other girl has a keychain on her keychain that if you put your phone up to it, it just starts playing it on Spotify. It's like a link which is a cool
That's
idea.
pretty sweet.
So I kind of want to start doing. I start making those. Yeah. So I think it's. Yeah, I think the fans really, really value the B sides and they really value the A sides, and yeah, they do a lot of creative stuff. So yeah, shout out to the fans for doing creative stuff. You're more creative than me.
Shout out to I don't even know how we got into that, but something about your fans.
Yeah, no, you were just kind of saying like that was like an incentive. I mean, I don't use it as
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't want to use it as
Sure,
like
sure.
an exploitational whatever, but it is a springboard.
No, but it's like it's unique where
For sure, I think you're saying my fans were really invested in me, and it's it goes beyond the music. So we
people
wanted to
get
say,
to know you.
Sure, and we always have fun. Like I always said, like when we go to Boston, I'm talking with everybody. We're having
Right.
a good time. There's really no barrier, and that applies to every city, and it doesn't
Right.
matter the size of the show. Like there's just always a good conversation to be had. And obviously you're the face and you're the voice of your past business and any future businesses you're working on. So you kind of share the same thing where it's like if you meet the face and the voice of it, you suddenly are more invested and it creates more of a dynamic conversation. So
Yeah, you
that's
want
why
to
we're here talking. We got faces and we got voices and we're talking.
Faces, voices, we got it all.
Yeah.
And but I think that's what's interesting is like there's layers to peel with everybody, and I think just having a better sense, like when you came up to upstate New York a couple weeks ago, whenever
I think it was
that
a week ago.
Week time is fun. I'm not
I did
doing
the math. I had 18 shots over the course of 3 o'clock we started, but we ended at 10.
Yeah, so everything shuts down in New York at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And Dan came over about 3 o'clock. And I had to finish something up quick. The second he walks in, he's like, I need two things, vodka and OJ. It's like, all right.
And we just started. And then, yeah, but we got everything kind of figured out. We had some funny texts and some funny things happen during that time. But yeah, so I mean, it's cool to be doing this. And we won't do 18 shots on the show. Well, doesn't Joe
not for
Rogan
this show.
doesn't
We might do that
Doesn't
another
Joe Rogan
time.
drink on the show?
I think okay, so what I love about Joe Rogan's podcast, which we're a little ways away from getting there yet,
A long ways away.
but like he just does what he wants to do. He has whatever guest he has, whatever guest he wants to have on, and that's what I want to do here. We talk about whatever it is that people want to hear, whatever we want to talk about, whatever's fun, enjoyable, new, whatever comes to mind. Who cares? Let's just roll with it. If it's drinking 18 shots, I definitely won't be able to drive all the way back. But
Definitely not driving back. So let's backtrack here for a sec. So right now you're doing work in the real estate field, but before you owned your own company and you sold your own company, and since then you've been soul searching. Is that a good word or no?
Yeah, I think we're all soul searching though. I think like in one way or another, we all are soul searching in some aspect. But yeah, like I
So tell people what was the first business? Explain it.
So we had a software platform where we helped college students get connected to employers like Bank of America, Amazon, AT&T for jobs and internships.
So would you consider it a tech business or would you consider it a service?
Tech business.
But you're not a tech guy.
Right. So I started a tech company.
You were a vision guy.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of started it with just a good intention. It was me and I originally had two co-founders, and we just said we want to help college students succeed. We want to help people that want to get more out of their lives.
You're saying there's an A, there's a B, they're supposed to be together.
Sure.
Let's make it easier to connect the A and the B.
Sure. So we did that.
Okay,
and
but I want to think. So you're not a tech person. You don't know how to code.
I don't know how to code. I've learned enough about it now where I'm conversational and can
You can
be
say like,
more
hey, by
involved.
the way, like change this X, Y, Z.
Sure.
Okay. Well, can you explain what was the first? I mean, I think about there's so many people in music that know nothing about music, and 99% of them are trash, and some of them are just. I have people I know personally that are just brilliant at guiding the process. So explain like when you were getting into that, like how was it? Like did you know your blind spots, or were you just blindly shooting?
Blindly shooting while semi-knowing my blind spots. So like when we
So
started,
as you grew, you learned more of your blind spots.
yeah, and now I realize how much of a pup I was. Like for context, I did a 1-year MBA 3 weeks before I graduated. We said, fuck it, I'm going to say no to my other job opportunity. We're going to start this business where the first year it didn't take a penny out of the company. I worked at a restaurant to support myself and just built. A year later, we raised $250,000 from an investor. I realized how naive I was, like thinking this is a billionaire or bust type of company. Like we're going to change the world. This is all I'm going to do for my life. And not realizing just what actually goes into building one of these software giants, which we were so far from ever having a chance of doing.
Okay.
Because of how we approach it. We didn't know anything about that world.
You're naive. So you're saying your naivety at the beginning
Yep.
was what prevented you at level 2 from ever ever thinking you could reach the billionaire bust? I've never heard that term before, but I'm gonna start using it.
Yeah. So I actually think being naive when you start a business, just like going into music,
Oh, totally.
is like it's a must. You must be naive, because if you knew 10 years ago what actually it was going to entail and all the shit that you've had to go through, shit I had to go through from starting my business, the shit that entrepreneurs have to go through every single day, and anyone else that's building something that is, the odds are stacked against you.
Totally.
No one would ever do it. Like, why would you want to put yourself through that pain? So I actually think in a lot of ways, being naive to a point is a good thing.
So I agree a couple things. To the point is like the caveat that's super fucking important.
Sure.
Because I think about, I don't want to say specific people. I don't want specific people to hear this and think I'm talking about them. But it's like, I've seen people that were just completely naive and they got trapped in situations where it's like, it's situations where you have to go billionaire or bust, or else there's nothing in between. It's like, what really are the odds of going billionaire? You know what I mean? Like in music, like what are the odds of being a top 50 art? I mean, not top 500. It's already hard as a top 50. Like you're only gonna win if you get there. It's like, what are the odds? The odds are just so slim. I think I got really lucky. I got really unlucky in a million ways, but I got really lucky in one way, where whenever I really realized at 19 that I was in the music business, there was, I mean, I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. I'm a huge Steven Van Zandt, who's a guitar player, plays Silvio on The Sopranos. He's just like coolest guy on earth. And Silvio, and I don't think Silvio even knew the potency. That's the name of Silvio's his character on The Sopranos. I don't think Steven knew the potency of what he was saying, but he had a quote. I remember like going down to the laundry room and telling my mom that quote. I'm like, this is my approach from now on. And it was like, essentially, Steven said, the only reason I'm successful is because I was the only one left. And that's like what he always talked about. He said like he was surrounded in music and everyone was getting older and everyone was quitting. And he's like, I'm still here. And that's kind of been, it's funny. Like I think of all the things I've done that I think are great or like artistically, you know, impactful or whatever, that I think is working so well with the fans. I don't think that's ever been my victory. I think I've failed so many times in the business arena of music that all my victories came from, he's still here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't ignore me anymore. And then I feel like I've brought people in and I do things that are just so different and no one wants to be a part of it, but they can't really, this is not the fans. The audience is awesome. Like, the audience is great. The audience is always growing. What we have is super unique, but I'm just saying, like, the outside business, it's like you can't really ignore me, and it's like every year it kind of keeps I hope we do that tenfold, but I think that's what you said. Like you keep hitting things that are like, oh, I can't do this anymore. This is awful. You know what I mean? And I've just been like, well, tough shit. This is what I want to do. Like
you probably see it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like when an artist comes up to you, like, oh, I want to be like you. I want to get 1 million streams. I want to perform at shows like this. I want to do this, and this.
But I want to say people that have been more successful than me, like significantly more successful than me, that are now done with music. They're over. Like they're over.
Right.
Like I always just believed in being a really steady stock. Like we used to sell more every year, and it's like I went to NYU, which had a ton of people that were actually very successful in music. I can name a dozen people that were on major labels at the same time I was. They all saw way more success than me, toured America. I've known people that have been nominated for Grammys. Plummeting. I know so many people that, like, they blew me off. I'm like, their just careers are plummeting. If not, they quit by now. You know what I mean? Like, I just find that my net worth just keeps going up. So.
Well, you gotta. I think everybody has an ego, and I think having a little bit of an ego is a good thing.
For sure.
But like, for you, I think one of the things that makes you special and unique is like you have no problem playing at a hotel bar with 20 or 30 people, or a bar mitzvah.
Okay, let's go back to that. Yeah. So yeah, Adam and I's first social engagement, that was beyond like artist fan camaraderies. Right. I do a ton of house parties, and those house parties I do for free.
Yeah.
So I'm losing money every night.
Right.
Literally. Well, I sell a lot of beef jerky, so I'm not losing money.
Beef jerky, you make a killing.
I make a killing off the merch. That's kind of always been my forte. I know we did one tour with Atlantic Records, was opening for Lissy, and I was like on schedule to lose $20,000, and we made like a profit of 15.
Wait, time out. Before we get into the
it's called tour support. So that's how labels work. So it's like you this has been going on since the 60s. Like, a big part of a major label deal that you get is you get access to tour with other artists, but you're not getting paid for it. And I got to pay this guy, $1,200 a week. I got to pay him $1,200 a week. I got to rent the van. I got to do that. I got to do bada bing, bada boom. And like $20,000 for like a 4-week run's nothing. You know what I mean? It's expensive if you're not getting paid. So someone like me is showing up at the merch table selling the shit out of beef jerky, which has I don't want to say the profit margin's huge, but like it's very big. Yeah, that changed everything. But back to what we were saying, yeah, that's what allowed me to do it for free. And trust me, I still do things really, really cheap. I'm currently doing a deal, really, really cheap shows. But he had a bar mitzvah, which was his dog's bar mitzvah.
Yeah, so my roommate...
It was actually a pretty packed party.
That was a great party.
It was a great party.
So my roommate, I mentioned earlier, Holly, she has a black lab.
Okay.
And she was turning 2, and we're trying to think about, like, is it a sweet 16? Like, what party are we going to... We want an excuse to throw a party, basically.
Of course.
And because Zoe was turning 2, we were like, what are we going to do? A sweet 16? I'm being a Jew. I'm like, let's throw her a bar mitzvah. Next thing you know, we threw her a bar mitzvah, and... it was a blast. We had you come, and it was great.
It was a really good time. So I played a bar mitzvah. But I think what we were saying, like, the willingness to do... Well, like, I have another thing. I don't want to call it out, but, like, I have an opportunity. There's someone I really, 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 really idolize in music. And they have a company that's on track to be one of the most successful companies in their field right now. And while I said I would never work with a company like that unless the money was insane... I just really like the person running the company. And I decided I was going to reach out this week. So I reached out and I sent the music, and they came back and like, oh, this is great. This is really, really good. And they were just like, they were like, cool, let's do something. And I was like, okay, well, let's do a phone call. And then they're like, how about you just come to Nashville next week and write music for this much smaller artist we're working with, and we can get dinner afterward. And I think that's a 12-hour drive. And this is on Wednesday, and today is Thursday. So I think like most. So by the way,
So you were just there.
I was just there. So yeah. So I think like I think it's kind of like a testament that it's like, what's awesome. Stopping? Like that's a test.
No, that's awesome.
That's like a really overt test. They're like, is this person going to drive 24 hours on a whim?
Right. That's the thing is like...
so you got to do it. You know what I mean? So I didn't... Everyone else would have been like, how about we just do a call instead?
Right.
And I just said, no, I'll be there. I didn't flinch on that one.
So what's your mindset though with doing stuff like that? Because it's like...
Well, for me, I'll just be honest. Like, so I love driving. I'm a fucking driving addict. So I love driving and I love writing songs. So that's like an easy flex for me.
So do you write...
But that goes back to the ego thing. It's like they weren't asking me to write with their church. They were asking me to write with someone who has 10,000 streams, you know what I mean? Which is, you gotta start somewhere. So, I don't know. I just I think it's kind of a thing. It's like, you want to be the last one standing, you know what I mean? So it's like, if that's the obstacle in the video game, then
just gotta keep going.
Then do it. I think a big thing you learn in life, and I've seen a lot of people struggle with this, is sometimes you have to do almost damn near impossible tasks. I mean, I had something really, really difficult the other day. I don't want to say what it is, because it was... You gotta do damn near impossible tasks just to gain an inch. And you're like, inch is nothing. I gotta go 10 miles. Well, guess what? If you don't get that inch, you're not getting the next inch. And you're not getting the next, you know what I mean? So like a big thing is like, I always call it the A to E philosophy. Is like, you got A and you got E. It's like, they always tell you not to focus on E. Like E is being the billionaire or bust. You know what I mean? And A to B is impossible.
Right.
B to C is impossible.
Right.
But if you love E so much...
You got to do it.
You got to do it anyway. So it kind of just is what it is.
One of my favorite, I just think it's it's kind of a stupid thing, but I think it kind of has like a good deeper point to it. Like I love sports. So I'm watching sports. And like team's down by 21 points in the fourth quarter and they get a touchdown. You're like, all right, you're chipping away. Like you're chipping away at the lead.
For sure. You might think the 7 points mean nothing against the 21, but you got to get the 7 for the 14.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's like with everything. Like if you want to become an artist that's performing in front of 25,000 people at Madison Square Garden, the hottest concert of the year, like you got to first perform at a hotel lobby with 30 fans and get those 30 people to fall in love with you. Then you got to just keep constantly putting out music. You got to keep engaging with your fans. You got to keep growing and listening and learning and studying the craft. And you got to do all those little things. And all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I'm at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. we have a long way to go from there, but we
You chip
chipping away.
away.
We got the podcast.